DC Multiverse!
Goodest of days, DC Super Friends. Today, why don't you join in with me as we have a look at 3 McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse action figures. The tantalizingly fantastic Mr. Terrific, the wonderful wily WildCat, and the preposterously powerful PowerGirl. Each one of these figures comes in the classic McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse black, white, and blue box with the huge window in the front, so we can get a little glimpse-a-roo at everything we get on the inside. And, of course, as always, each one has a piece of artwork on the back of each box, which later we'll find is exactly the same as the trading card. Each one of these figures comes with a varying amount of accessories in the package. Mr. Terrific, who comes with a total of 3 faceplates, and of course we're going to review the platinum in this video, so here are the black faceplates. Also, an extra hand holding a T-sphere, a couple T-spheres that fit around his wrist, and a T-sphere shield, by the looks of it. While PowerGirl comes with some extra hands, and Streaky, the kitty cat. The Super Kitty. And of course, each figure is going to come with its own trading card, as they always do. Now let's take a look at each figure individually, starting with PowerGirl. And we can see that this figure definitely has a very basic PowerGirl look, and I'm glad that they went with the no pants PowerGirl. While this isn't my 100% favorite look for PowerGirl, this is definitely one of her better looks, in my opinion. She has an itsy bitsy cloth goods cape back here, and while I'm not entirely sure what this stain is on the back of her cape, it is nice that it's wired all the way around, although the wire actually stops right here in the corner. But there is a wire along the bottom and the wires along the side, so the cape can stick up, and you can pretty much put this cape in almost any pose you want to. Like, oh no, it's very windy and my cape is blowing this way. While we can see that the image on the trading card in the back of the package shows a medallion here over her shoulder, not to mention a red belt with a gold buckle. This is a PowerGirl from her pre-Flashpoint era, where she had the golden shoulder pauldron, and I'm not really sure why they chose this belt. I think it's because this is more accurate to the other version of her, the Platinum, where she's wearing the red jacket. Neat looking boots with those buckly things on the side. And I think that PowerGirl uses Wonder Woman's legs. One thing's for sure, she definitely doesn't share the upper torso with any other female characters in the DC Multiverse line, based on account of the fact that she's got the boob window. No one else has a boob window, just her. And as far as her facial sculpt goes, and the paint thereof, not bad. I mean, for the most part, it looks pretty neat, pretty tidy, and I like what they've done there. There is some weird yellow slop underneath the front of her Karen haircut, but other than that, I think that the head sculpt looks nice. As for PowerGirl's kitty, Streaky, she's done quite well. She's got the lightning bolt on each side, right there. And they've done a pretty good job on that. Looking up close at the face, for something so small, I think that she turned out really quite well. And it really is quite nice that they decided to include the S on the back of the kitty cat's cape, which, as you'll remember, they actually didn't do for Crypto. He never got the S on the back. However, she did get that little S-shaped clasp underneath her cape that holds her cape on. Now, in comparison to some of my favorite Superman figures, you can see that she is absolutely taller than each of them. All of them. She's taller than every single Superman. And that doesn't make sense. Look at her here next to the DC Multiverse Wonder Woman. She's even taller than her. Holy crap. And finally, here she is alongside the rest of the Justice Society characters that I have. And I think that they're building out this Justice Society nicely. I am really, really happy with how far we've come with these Society figures. Now, as far as the overgrown height goes for PowerGirl, there is an easy fix for these 2 very big situations we have here. And that, for me, I will likely end up trimming off some of the plastic, say up to here, and then sinking the ankle up inside. So, maybe we will, I don't know, we'll lose maybe 3/4 of an inch worth of height. Oh, by the way, I'm not a complete dirtbag, but my thumb has blue paint on it. It's okay. That is a pretty grody looking thumb, but I promise you it's not dirt. I just have really dry skin, and that's also paint. Now, as for her articulation, let's find out what it is together. So, her noodle, what does it do? Well, that could be worse. How forward? Hey, that's not bad. That's all right. And then up. Ooh. The haircut gets in the way. She can turn her head sideways and look at you like, really? Really? Let's find out what them arms do. Hey, that's not bad. They go up nicely. That's pretty good. Got the socket all the way around. The shoulder pauldron moves right out of the way, right? It's floating there, right? So it's not getting in the way, not even an iota. We've also got here bicep swivels. Pretty good. The only thing is, these are the ugly kind, where when you turn them, see, you can see that there. That kind of looks weird. But she does have the bicep swivels, and her elbows, not bad. That's nice. Nothing in the torso. They could have actually put a cut right here under her chest, and that would have given us a little bit more articulation, but they did go with the waist. Okay, well, that's that. I do wish there was chest articulation rather than just waist. Yeah, I wish there was chest articulation too. Down here for her power diaper. This actually does kind of look like a diaper too, doesn't it? Or granny panties. Down here we can see she's got the McFarlane groin going on. I want to know exactly how will they go out that far, like that, and then forward. Ooh, that's not bad. And then back, about that. Okay, so the granny panties don't really get in the way that much. What does she get as far as the turny turn though? See, if you want to turn the leg that way, it will rotate, but you can't do much with it. Like, these figures desperately need some kind of a thigh cut here if we are going to have better articulation. Then here we have the knee. Not bad. I like that. That crunches nicely. And then we have here the rounded-ish shaped hinge. Down, up, which is more than you could possibly do as a real human being wearing these boots. And she's got that whole swivel right there going round like that, but no toe. Up next, we have WildCat, a figure that I was really stoked to get. I love building my JSA up, and he is a necessity for building up your Justice Society. You cannot have a Justice Society unless you have WildCat. And this guy looks pretty good too. As you can see, he has been made using the same body buck as Electric Blue and Red Superman, so that's where this guy comes from. And they've done a pretty good job with the reuse, actually. They have some weird, like, painted shading on the figure. I think it would have probably been better had they just left the whole thing dark. I may remove some of that, just because it's weird that it's like here, and then there's none up here, and I don't really understand the significance of that, and I just would prefer it all to be one color. That's just my preference. I like the fact that they've shaded his feet down here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't WildCat have claws on his feet as well? I think he did. I can't remember. Maybe some versions did have that. Anyway, I would rather he had claws for feet anyway. I love the fact that this WildCat comes with his taped up hands. I think that looks really good, and they've done a great job. If you'll get a little closer look here, they've done a pretty fantastic job with the shading on these wraps around his fists. Like, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm assuming they're probably going to make another one of this figure just because they had to newly tool these forearms and these fists. They couldn't just be reused. And the head sculpt for this figure is one that at first I was like, well, not really feeling it, but yeah, I think it's actually okay. It's definitely grown on me, and I probably won't order a custom head sculpt. I'll just keep this one the way it is. I think that they did a pretty awesome job with this. And I like the ears. I like the ears on this suit very much. And just for funsies, I'm going to bring back that JSA picture again so you can get another look at it, and you can see how he scales with the figures that are in that JSA display. Not bad. And as for his articulation, the torso is tight. Oh, that is very tight. But it does go back and it goes forward. Yeah, it could do a lot more forward. At least he has articulation there, but yeah, it could do a lot more forward. And then you've got it going all the way around. You've got the waist. So when you mix the waist and the torso together, wow, that's a lot. Dude's gonna have back problems. And the same thing with forward. Okay, let's really push it. Okay. Yeah, not much. That could be a lot better. And the arms, up, whoop-de-doo. Not bad. That's pretty good. That's a mighty fine T-pose. Of course, we have the rounded hinges, the bicep swivel, the double jointed elbows. They're all gonna do the things that we expect them to do and do it well. He's got the wristies for the fisties here, and they're on that rounded hinge. I mean, they do pretty much what we expect. I wonder what WildCat's head gets for articulation. Over, and then over again. Not bad. Forward, and let's get a good look at that way. That's pretty good. And then back. Yeah, that's all right. That's pretty good for just having the ball peg in the neck and no neck hinge. Down here, below the diaper, of course, he has that style of groin and spreads right out. And he can move forward to a full sitting position and then all the way back to about that. That's what you're looking at. This one does rotate better than PowerGirl did. Still not the greatest. This is not a great compensation for a thigh cut, but it definitely moves better. And then, of course, we have the double jointed knee situation here that does a fine job. We have the rounded hinge, up, down. We have the pivot, and we have the toe. And yes, he actually does have pretty good toe. And now we look at Mr. Terrific, or should I say Mr. Terrifics. And, you know, I did not see these characters coming. I thought that we were not going to see a Mr. Terrific action figure until the movie figures were released. And then this guy was shown, and it was like, oh, well, that's cool. I mean, sure, I'll take it. And then I saw they had the platinum. I was like, oh, that's even cooler. We have a pre-New 52 version of the character, and then we also have a New 52 version of the character. And as you can see, both of their body sculpts are the same. However, the coloring, the deco for each figure is completely different for each figure, at least when it comes to the suit. The jackets for each of the figures are exactly the same, and I do wish that the sleeves said fair play down the sides like they're supposed to. I understand why they don't, but I really do wish they did. I wish they had them there like they're supposed to, and I don't like how rounded the bottom corner of the jacket is. I wish that it was just straight, like a regular jacket. Like why it rounded is like, just doesn't quite look right. Here's the jacket by itself, not on the figure, and like it's not a terrible, creation. It's not a terrible construction. Like it's all right. Maybe some wires in here would have been kind of cool to hold it where it's supposed to be. Again, I really wish that the bottom wasn't rounded. That's kind of silly. It's sort of like a pleather material, like a soft pleather, not a harder pleather. And it works, like it's not terrible. It could have, there are improvements that could be made to this jacket if you had more time, more effort, and more money, like putting fair play down the sleeves, and probably fairly easily inserting a wire all the way around here. You just pop one of these stitches, stick the wire in here, run it all the way around to here. And then the same thing here, or pop the stitch here and run the wire all the way up to the top. Both figures do say fair play on their arms. You got fair on one side and play on the other, which is nice that they added that. And overall, I think he's a pretty good reuse of the Blue Beetle Booster Gold Body Buck. Here is the first straight-faced red face plate for Mr. Terrific. Looks pretty good. I really like what they did with this. And then here is the black T version of the same faceplate. And then here is the teethy version of the red faceplate. Not bad. And then we have the black T version with the teeth. Again, not bad. Pretty good. Here is the open mouth going to the dentist version of the red faceplate. And looks pretty neat, looks pretty tidy. And here is one and the same, only it's the black T version, where he is probably going to the dentist. Maybe they're ripping a tooth out and they didn't give him any freezing. As for Michael Holt's Mr. Terrific's articulation, I'm not really so convinced that we need to actually really go through it point for point, just based on the fact that we've seen this body buck so many times before. that we generally, I think, know what it will and will not do, what it is capable of, what it is not capable of, where the articulation points are. So I think for the articulation, even though I'm kind of fiddling with it now, I'm going to skip doing an actual official articulation point of this video for this particular figure. So now, what do I think about all three of these figures? Well, honestly, WildCat is my most favoritist of them. And then next, I'm going to have to go with PowerGirl, just based on the fact that I really like that character. I'm really happy that we got her. After I do the modifications, I'm sure she will be a near perfect version of the character, at least as far as I'm concerned. I think that she'll do just fine. And then we have both versions of Mr. Terrific, which I'm always happy to add to my collection. And, oh yeah, by the way, here he is with the rest of the league. You get a little idea of exactly what his size is. And honestly, looking at all three of these figures together one last time, I mean, come on. PowerGirl is definitely so much bigger than she needs to be. Like, I'm not just being nitpicky here. She's practically the size that Big Barda should be. But yeah, these are my thoughts, views, and opinions on these three fantastic McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse action figures. Though not perfect, at least as far as PowerGirl goes, I think they're all definitely worthwhile. They're worth the pickup. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Have yourself a super awesome DC day, everybody, and thanks for the memories.